Thank you for tuning in to this training video for the Extraordinary Ministers of Holy Communion. We hope to go over 2 or 3 adjustments that we'd like to make in our Sunday Mass distribution of Holy Communion. The first is concerning a new position for distributing Holy Communion, and that would be a position in front of the cantor stand on the aisle closest to the choir. You can see in the video here the cantor stand in the bottom left-hand corner. The minister that we are assigning to this new position would be position number 9, is the minister to the handicapped or comfort seating. The minister will go to the 4 comfort seating stations and then come across near the priest sacristy heading toward the daily chapel, Our Lady Chapel. We're hoping that the minister will indicate to the people sitting in the chapel that they are to follow him to and up the aisle to receive Holy Communion, as you can see the minister doing. He now comes forward and takes his place near the cantor's stand along the music department aisle. You see the members of the faithful then approach the minister from the chapel area, and they turn to their left and join the traffic going back up that aisle. Faithful from the chapel have finished. The members of the choir sitting in those chairs will proceed following them in exactly the same pattern. Once the minister 9 has finished distributing communion, he or she returns to the sanctuary near the altar, where he would wait for the priest minister to dispense with the Eucharist left in his bowl. Of course, all the ministers of the Eucharist are encouraged to check with the ministers at the center aisle to see if they are in need of more hosts. The second purpose for the training video is to discuss the positioning of the ministers of Holy Communion in receiving communion themselves and receiving their vessels. As has been our custom, the ministers of Holy Communion will line up on the ramp, and the first ministers in line are those who are going to be the cup ministers. When the priest receives the precious blood himself, the ministers move from the ramp, and they take their place now in a perpendicular line next to the altar. So the ministers of the cup are going to line up facing the priest with their backs to the comfort seating. The priest will distribute Holy Communion, the body of Christ, to all the ministers, as you see in the video. The priest will then return and distribute the precious blood to the 3 or 4 ministers of the cup as they are positioned next to the altar. He then will instruct the remaining ministers to either approach the cups to receive the precious blood themselves, or to come to him at the altar and to take their vessel and go to their places. You can see in the video that everyone is invited to exit the sanctuary toward the pulpit or the ambo and then go to their places for distribution. The next point that we'd like to emphasize and remind people is that the ministers in the center aisle of the church oftentimes are running low on Eucharist. So, as you return from your positions, having exhausted the line, you should report to the center aisle and to make sure that they are not in need of any remaining hosts before you go to the altar and wait for the communion rite to complete. Lastly, the issue of cup ministers who are now returning to the credence table when their line is finished. The issue of precious blood remaining in your chalice. Ideally, a minister of the cup would go to the credence table and find another minister there who would be willing to consume what is remaining in the cup. A minister of the cup is the last minister, and no one is in the area that can help and assist them in consuming the precious blood. They should receive themselves the cup, the precious blood, and place the cup on the credence table. While this is not ideal, it is certainly acceptable and understandable in these circumstances. Thank you again for considering these adjustments, and I hope this video has been helpful to the smooth operation and the distribution of Holy Communion. God bless you.